The ghost ship. The human warship Invictus drifted silently through the Cygnus expanse, a region of space unclaimed by any single species. Its massive hull, nearly 2 kilometers in length, rotated slowly in the void, catching occasional glints of distant starlight across its darkened surface. To any observer, it appeared abandoned, a derelict vessel left to the slow decay of vacuum and cosmic radiation. Commander Thrax of the Zolarian Empire's exploratory vessel Nomad watched the holographic projection of the mysterious ship with calculating eyes. His scaled skin rippled with excitement as he circled the display. Preliminary scans show no active power signatures, reported Lieutenant Vex, her 4 limbs working rapidly across the control panels. The vessel appears to have been adrift for at least 2 standard cycles. No life signs detected. Thrax's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. The construction is unlike anything in our database. The hull material alone would be worth salvaging. What species designed this behemoth? Analysis suggests human origin, Commander, Vex replied, her voice carrying a note of surprise. But humans haven't been documented in this sector for decades. They retreated to their core systems after the Orion conflict. Humans, Thrax mused, his compound eyes reflecting the rotating image. Primitive but resourceful. Their technology was always unpredictable. The Zolarians had only encountered humans in passing, brief diplomatic exchanges and the occasional trade negotiation. Rumors spoke of their tenacity, their unusual adaptability, but the species had largely kept to themselves, especially after several border disputes with the Draxian hegemony. Prepare a salvage team, Thrax decided. This vessel may contain valuable insights into human engineering. And if it's truly abandoned, salvage rights belong to the discoverer under Galactic Concord law. 12 light-years away, on the human frontier outpost Helios Station, Captain Dominic Foster jolted awake as his neural implant chimed with an urgent alert. The small quarters lit up automatically as he swung his legs over the edge of his sleeping pod. Status report, he commanded, his voice rough with sleep. The station's AI responded immediately. Captain, Defense Network Node 37 has detected unauthorized access to a dormant military vessel. The IHS Invictus is reporting peripheral system activation. Foster froze. The Invictus was supposed to be decommissioned, officially listed as lost during a classified mission in the Cygnus Expanse 3 years ago. But in reality, the experimental vessel had been deliberately left as a silent sentinel, its advanced systems placed in hibernation rather than scrapped. Contact Dr. Winters, Foster ordered, already pulling on his uniform. Tell her it's Protocol Lazarus. Dr. Eliza Winters was the last remaining engineer from the original Invictus project. She had argued vehemently against abandoning the ship, claiming its revolutionary hybrid AI and adaptive defense systems were too valuable to leave behind. But the Admiralty had made their decision. The technology was deemed too dangerous after the incident at Europa. Within minutes, Foster and Winters were huddled in the station's secure command center, watching real-time data stream in from the activated defense node. Someone's trying to access the main engineering bay, Winters observed, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Her dark hair was pulled back in a hasty ponytail, eyes intense with concentration. The ship's defensive AI is still dormant, but the peripheral systems are responding to the intrusion. Can you establish a direct connection? Foster asked, studying the schematics. Winters nodded. I'm trying, but the quantum entanglement communicator is in low-power mode. It might take. She was interrupted by a sudden cascade of alerts across the display. They've breached the engineering containment field, she whispered, horrified. They don't know what they're dealing with. Aboard the Invictus, the Zolarian salvage team moved cautiously through the darkened corridors. Chief Engineer Zovok led the group, his exoskeleton amplifying his movements as he carried heavy scanning equipment. The architecture is fascinating, he noted, examining the unusual curvature of the walls. Not merely functional, there's an elegance to it. Focus on the engineering section, Thrax's voice commanded through their comm units. Preliminary scans suggest that's where their propulsion systems would be located. The team of 8 Zolarians continued deeper into the ship, passing through chambers that showed signs of hasty abandonment, personal items left behind, meal stations still set with utensils. Yet there was no structural damage evident, no indication of why the crew had departed. Commander, we've reached what appears to be the main engineering bay, Zovok reported. There's a large containment field blocking access. Should we proceed? After a moment's hesitation, Thrax replied, "Proceed with caution. Disable the field if possible." It took the Zolarian engineers nearly an hour to bypass the ship's security protocols. When the containment field finally flickered and died, they surged forward eagerly. "Incredible," breathed Zovok as they entered the vast chamber. At its center pulsed a spherical core, suspended in a complex web of technology unlike anything in Zolarian science. Even powered down, it emanated a faint blue glow. This isn't conventional fusion technology. The energy density readings are impossible. Unknown to the aliens, their tampering had triggered a cascade of emergency protocols within the ship's dormant systems. Deep within the vessel's quantum processor, the defensive AI began to stir. Back on Helios Station, Winters let out a triumphant noise. "I've established connection. The ship's defense AI is initiating emergency startup sequences." "Can you see what they're doing?" Foster demanded. "They're attempting to interface with the zero-point energy core," Winters replied, her expression grim. "Captain, if they destabilize that containment field." Foster didn't need her to finish the thought. The Invictus wasn't merely a warship, it was a technological testbed, equipped with experimental systems that the Admiralty had deemed too dangerous to bring back to populated space. "We need to warn them," he decided. "Open a communication channel." "That would reveal our monitoring capabilities," Winters cautioned. "Better that than letting them accidentally trigger a zero-point cascade that could tear apart half the sector," Foster countered. As they debated, aboard the Invictus, Chief Engineer Zovok had made a critical decision. "I believe we can extract a sample of this technology for study," he told his team, preparing specialized equipment. "Even a fragment would advance our understanding by decades." The moment Zovok's extraction tool touched the energy core's outer shell, the ship's systems surged to life. Emergency lighting flooded the corridors with harsh red illumination. Bulkheads slammed shut throughout the vessel, sealing the Zolarians in separate compartments. A human voice, calm and measured, echoed through the ship, "Unauthorized access detected. Defense protocols activated. This vessel is property of the United Earth Government. Stand down immediately." Aboard the Nomad, Commander Thrax watched in alarm as the supposedly derelict ship blazed to life, power signatures spiking across every system. "Get our people out of there," he ordered. "Full emergency extraction." But it was too late. The Invictus's defense systems were fully online, jamming all communications and transportation signals. On Helios Station, Foster watched the situation deteriorate with growing concern. "Dr. Winters, can you establish communication with the intruders through the ship's systems?" She nodded, fingers flying across the interface. "Channel open." Foster took a deep breath. "This is Captain Dominic Foster of the United Earth Fleet to unidentified vessel attempting to salvage the IHS Invictus. You are interfering with a restricted military asset. Cease all activities immediately." There was a long pause before a reply came through, the alien commander, his translators struggling to convert the unusual cadence of his speech. "This is Commander Thrax of the Zolarian Empire. We discovered this abandoned vessel in neutral space. Under Galactic Concord salvage regulations." "The Invictus was not abandoned," Foster interrupted. "It was placed in strategic reserve. Your unauthorized access has activated defense protocols that I cannot override remotely." On the Invictus, the ship's systems continued to power up, weapons platforms emerging from concealed bays along the hull. The vessel that had appeared dead was now bristling with advanced weaponry, all trained on the Zolarian ship. Commander Thrax stared at the transformation in disbelief. What they had mistaken for a derelict warship was rapidly revealing itself to be something far more dangerous, and its weapons were now targeting his vessel with deadly precision. "Captain Foster," he said carefully, "it seems we have much to discuss." Awakening the giant. The standoff between the Zolarian vessel Nomad and the now fully activated Invictus created a tense tableau against the starlit backdrop of the Cygnus expanse. Commander Thrax's mandibles twitched nervously as he studied the human warship through the Nomad's observation deck. "Status report on our salvage team," he demanded, never taking his compound eyes off the imposing vessel. Officer Krell, his tactical second, responded with notable tension in her voice. "All 8 members are alive but contained in separate sectors of the human vessel. The ship's defensive AI has them in lockdown." "And our offensive capabilities?" Thrax asked quietly. Insufficient against that level of armament, Krell admitted. The vessel's shields came online during the last activation sequence. Our sensors indicate they're operating at capacities that exceed our most advanced military vessels. Thrax's exoskeleton rippled with frustration. What had seemed like a simple salvage operation, a derelict ship abandoned in neutral space, had transformed into a diplomatic crisis that could potentially escalate into open conflict with a species the Zolarian Empire had little direct experience with. Maintain open communications with the human captain, he decided. And prepare a formal diplomatic channel request to the human Concord. On Helios Station, Captain Foster was mobilizing a response team. The station's hangar bay buzzed with activity as a sleek interceptor vessel, the Artemis, was prepped for immediate departure. "We'll be outnumbered," Lieutenant Marcus Reed observed as he checked his tactical gear. The stocky veteran had served with Foster for years, his weather-beaten face showing concern rather than fear. "These Zolarians, what do we know about them?" "Not enough," Foster admitted. "They're an expansionist empire from the Orion Spur, technologically advanced, hierarchical society. We've had minimal contact, mostly through intermediary trading posts." Dr. Winters approached, carrying a specialized interface module. "This should allow me to directly access the Invictus's central AI once we're aboard. If their tampering hasn't damaged the quantum core, I might be able to regain full control." Foster nodded grimly. "The priority is preventing either an interspecies incident or a zero-point containment breach. The Admiralty won't be pleased that one of our black projects is now exposed to foreign analysis." "The Admiralty abandoned that ship," Winters countered sharply. "I warned them this could happen." Foster didn't argue. She was right, and they both knew it. The decision to leave the Invictus as a secretly monitored technological honeypot had been controversial from the start. "Ready for departure in 5 minutes, Captain," the flight controller announced over the comms. As the team made final preparations, Foster received an incoming transmission from the Zolarian commander. "Captain Foster," Thrax began, his translator converting his clicking speech into smooth standard English. "I propose an immediate resolution to this situation. Allow my crew to depart your vessel, and we will withdraw from this sector with our apologies for the misunderstanding." Foster studied the alien commander's expression on the screen. Even through the species difference, he could recognize desperation. "Commander Thrax, your crew interfered with experimental technology they don't understand. The ship's AI has activated defensive protocols beyond my immediate control. I'm dispatching a team to personally address the situation." Thrax's compound eyes shifted subtly. "You intend to board the vessel?" "It's our ship," Foster replied simply. "My engineer and I will stabilize the systems and secure the release of your salvage team. But understand this, any attempt to extract technology or data from the Invictus will be considered an act of espionage against Earth." The Artemis departed Helios Station minutes later, its advanced propulsion system allowing it to reach the Invictus in a fraction of the time it would take conventional vessels. As they approached, the team observed the Zolarian Nomad maintaining a cautious distance from the now active human warship. "The Invictus is scanning us," Reed reported from the tactical station. "It recognizes our approach vector and human biosignatures." Foster turned to Winters. "Can you establish direct communication?" She nodded, already interfacing with the ship's systems through her neural implant. "Invictus Defensive Array, this is Dr. Eliza Winters, authorization code Phoenix 7 Epsilon 9. Recognize voice print and stand down weapons on approaching human vessel." The response came immediately, the ship's AI speaking in a neutral, androgynous voice. "Voice print recognized, Dr. Winters. Approach authorized. Be advised that foreign entities have attempted unauthorized access to restricted systems. Containment protocols are active." The Artemis docked at the Invictus's secondary hangar bay, where Foster led a team of 6 specialists into the ship. The corridors were illuminated with emergency lighting, casting everything in an eerie red glow. "Main engineering is 20 levels down," Winters directed, consulting the ship's schematics through her neural display. "The zero-point core is stable but active." The Zolarians didn't know what they were dealing with. As they moved deeper into the vessel, Foster was struck by a bittersweet familiarity. The Invictus had been humanity's most ambitious military project, a ship designed not just to fight wars but to redefine them. Its hybrid AI and revolutionary propulsion system had promised to secure human dominance in their corner of the galaxy. Until the incident at Europa had changed everything. Meanwhile, aboard the Nomad, Thrax received disturbing news from his science division. "Commander," began Chief Scientist Nexera, her exoskeleton gleaming under the ship's bright lights. "Our initial analysis of the sensor data collected from the human vessel is concerning." "Elaborate," Thrax demanded. "The energy core at the center of their ship, it's not just advanced. It's theoretically impossible by our understanding of physics. They've somehow harnessed zero-point energy into a stable matrix. The power output is incalculable." Thrax absorbed this information silently. If the humans possessed this level of technology, the balance of power in the sector would be fundamentally altered. The Zalarian Empire's technological superiority, their primary advantage in interstellar politics, suddenly seemed less certain. "And there's more," Nexera continued. "The ship's defensive capabilities and AI integration suggest it was designed not as a conventional warship, but as a force projection platform. It could potentially neutralize an entire battle fleet without sustaining significant damage." "Then why abandon it?" Thrax wondered aloud. "Perhaps they didn't," Nexera suggested quietly. "Perhaps they were waiting to see who would find it." The implication hung heavily in the command center. Had they stumbled into a test? A trap? Deep within the Invictus, Foster's team reached the main engineering bay. The massive chamber hummed with energy, centered around the pulsing blue sphere of the zero-point core. One of the Zalarian engineers was contained in a stasis field nearby, frozen in the act of attempting to extract a sample from the core's outer layer. "Release containment on the alien," Foster ordered the ship's AI. "But maintain security protocols." The stasis field dissipated, and the Zalarian engineer, Zovok, stumbled forward, his four limbs struggling to regain balance. You're human," he observed, his translator rendering his clicks into words. "Chief Engineer Zovok, I presume," Foster replied. "You're lucky to be alive. If you had breached the core's containment field, this entire sector would have been reduced to its component atoms." Zovok's compound eyes widened. "We had no idea. Our scans indicated it was merely an advanced fusion reactor." "That's by design," Winters interjected, already working at the main control interface. "The Invictus contains security countermeasures that mask its true capabilities to foreign scanning technology." As Winters worked to stabilize the ship's systems and release the remaining Zalarians from containment, Foster received an urgent communication from Lieutenant Reed, who was monitoring the situation from the bridge. "Captain, the Zalarian vessel is being joined by 3 additional ships. Configuration suggests military escorts." Foster's expression hardened. "Commander Thrax appears to be calling for reinforcements." When Foster confronted Thrax over the communication channel, the Zalarian commander's mandibles twitched defensively. "A standard precautionary measure, Captain. When a survey vessel fails to report in, protocol dictates a security response." "Your security response could be interpreted as an act of aggression," Foster countered. "I suggest you inform your approaching vessels that this is a diplomatic situation, not a military one." As tension escalated, Dr. Winters made a surprising discovery while interfacing with the Invictus's central systems. "Captain," she called, her voice filled with wonder. "I've accessed the ship's original mission parameters. The Invictus wasn't designed as just a weapons platform. It was meant to be an ambassador vessel." "Ambassador?" Foster echoed incredulously. "Yes. The zero-point core was intended to demonstrate human technological capabilities to potential allies, or potential threats. It was designed to establish first contact scenarios from a position of unmistakable strength." Foster absorbed this revelation, the pieces suddenly falling into place. The Admiralty hadn't abandoned the Invictus because of safety concerns alone, they had placed it strategically in the Cygnus Expanse as a silent ambassador, waiting for an advanced species to discover it. With newfound understanding, Foster reopened communication with Commander Thrax. "I believe we've both been pawns in a larger game, Commander. The Invictus was left here deliberately, not as a trap, but as a demonstration." Over the next hours, a tense negotiation unfolded. The Zalarian salvage team was released unharmed, though thoroughly scanned to ensure they hadn't downloaded or stolen any restricted data. In exchange, Commander Thrax agreed to a diplomatic summit between Zalarian representatives and the United Earth government. As the Zalarian ships prepared to depart, Thrax requested a final conversation with Captain Foster. "Your superiors are either brilliant strategists or dangerous provocateurs, Captain," he observed. To leave such technology as bait, it could have easily triggered a war. Or prevented one, Foster countered. Now you understand exactly what confronting humanity would cost. Sometimes the most effective weapon is one you never have to fire. Thrax's compound. I studied the human captain. We mistook your vessel for an abandoned relic, a derelict warship to be stripped and studied. Instead, we've awakened something far more significant. Not awakened, Commander, Foster corrected. Revealed. Humanity has been awake and watching all along. As the Zalarian fleet departed, Dr. Winters joined Foster on the Invictus's observation deck. Together they watched the alien ships shimmer into hyperspace, leaving them alone with the stars. The Admiralty will want the Invictus brought back now, she observed. Its cover is blown. Foster nodded. And they'll want a full report on Zalarian capabilities, politics, everything we've learned. First contact rarely goes according to plan, Winters mused. But at least this one didn't end in bloodshed. Foster's gaze remained fixed on the spot where the alien ships had vanished. This was just the beginning, Doctor. They'll be back, and not just the Zalarians. Word will spread about what happened here. About how they mistook our ship for a derelict, Winters added with a slight smile, until humanity answered the call. The Invictus's engines hummed to life, its systems fully operational for the first time in years. As the massive ship began its journey back to Earth, it left behind more than just empty space. It left a message that would echo across the stars: humanity was ready for the galaxy. Whether the galaxy was ready for humanity remained to be seen.